After years of relentless legal battles, media attacks, and institutional pushback, Prince Harry has achieved a major victory that not only vindicates him, but also exposes the double standards within Britain's power structures. On December 7, 2025, the High Court ruled that the Duke of Sussex must be given a full, professional risk assessment whenever he visits the United Kingdom, a significant reversal by the Home Office after years of resistance. This ruling is not just a personal win for Harry, it's a moment of justice, accountability, and truth that validates everything he has been saying since he stepped back from royal duties in 2020. To fully understand the weight of this decision, it's important to go back to the beginning of this conflict. When Prince Harry and Meghan, the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, made the decision to step back as senior working royals, the reaction from the British establishment was immediate and punitive. The couple was not just stripped of their official roles and patronages. They were also denied the state-funded police protection that traditionally extends to senior members of the royal family, regardless of where they live. This was a shocking move, especially given Harry's background. As a former soldier who served 2 tours in Afghanistan, a prince born into the global spotlight, and one of the most targeted individuals by the British tabloid press, Harry's security concerns were never theoretical. He and Sussex have faced an extraordinary amount of hatred, misinformation, and threats, much of it racially charged and fueled by media hostility. Despite this, the UK government's Executive Committee for the Protection of Royalty and Public Figures, REVEC, decided that Harry's level of threat no longer warranted automatic police protection. In essence, he was told he would be treated as a private citizen, even though his global visibility, royal status, and the hatred directed at him made him a far greater target than most. It was an unprecedented and deeply personal decision, one that left Harry feeling unprotected, unwelcome, and betrayed by the very institution meant to safeguard him. From the start, Harry made it clear that this was not about privilege, it was about safety. He offered to personally pay for police protection while in the UK, but the Home Office refused, insisting that private individuals could not buy police services. That refusal left him with no other option but to take legal action. The case quickly became one of the most high-profile legal battles between a royal and the British government in modern history. At stake was not just Harry's security, but the broader issue of fairness, accountability, and whether personal grudges and palace politics had influenced a national security decision. In court, Harry's legal team argued that the Home Office had acted irrationally and unfairly, disregarding the risks he faced. They presented evidence of online hate campaigns, extremist threats, and the ongoing danger posed by paparazzi and tabloid intrusion. They emphasized that Harry's role and visibility had not diminished simply because he was no longer performing royal duties. In fact, stepping back from the royal fold had arguably made him a greater target. The hostility directed at him and Sussex, amplified by sections of the media and fueled by their public criticism of royal racism and institutional neglect, made their safety an even more serious concern. The Home Office, backed by figures close to the palace, continued to insist that Harry's protection should be downgraded. They argued that REVEC had considered all relevant factors and that the decision was within their discretion. But as the case unfolded, it became increasingly clear that this was not just a matter of bureaucracy, it was a political and personal issue, deeply entangled with royal image management and resentment. For years, many observers have noted that the establishment seemed determined to put Harry in his place, to remind him that stepping back from royal duties came with consequences. This ruling changes that narrative completely. By ordering that Harry must receive a full risk assessment every time he visits the UK, the court has effectively recognised that his safety concerns were justified. It's an admission that the earlier decision, the one that stripped him of protection, may have been influenced more by politics than by sound security reasoning. The judgment forces the Home Office to treat him as they would any other high-risk figure, assessing threats based on intelligence and real-world danger, not emotion or palace pressure. For Harry, this ruling is about more than security, it's about principle. He has said time and again that he cannot bring his wife and children to the UK unless their safety is guaranteed. The ruling now makes that possible. It means that when Harry, Sussex, Archie, and Lilibet visit, they can do so under professional protection rather than relying on private security teams who lack access to UK intelligence. It also sends a powerful message that even institutions as old and powerful as the monarchy and the Home Office must be held accountable when they act unjustly. There's also an emotional layer to this victory that cannot be ignored. Since the death of his mother, Princess Diana, in a car crash while being chased by paparazzi, Harry has carried the trauma of inadequate security and relentless media intrusion. Much of his advocacy and decision-making in adulthood has been shaped by that loss. His determination to protect his family from a similar fate has been unwavering, and yet for years the British establishment mocked him for it, calling him paranoid, entitled or dramatic. Now, this legal decision proves that his fears were legitimate and that his fight was justified. It's hard not to see this as a full-circle moment, where the lessons of Diana's tragedy finally led to real accountability. The court's ruling also raises uncomfortable questions for King Charles and Prince William. As senior royals, they could have easily supported Harry's plea for fair treatment, especially considering that their own security remains fully taxpayer-funded. Yet instead, they remained silent, or, as some reports suggest, quietly approved the Home Office's decision to limit Harry's protection. The silence from Buckingham Palace has always been telling. Instead of empathy, Harry received distance. Instead of understanding, he got cold indifference. Now, as the court sides with him, it exposes the hypocrisy of a system that protects privilege and punishes independence. This outcome also challenges the media narrative that has long sought to frame Harry as the problem. For years, tabloids have painted him as a spoiled prince seeking special treatment, ignoring the real legal and ethical principles behind his case. They accused him of wanting to live off the taxpayer, while conveniently overlooking the fact that Harry offered to pay for the protection himself. The British press, often aligned with palace sources, seemed more interested in smearing him than in reporting the truth. But this court victory undercuts all that noise. It shows that Harry's demands were reasonable and that his fight was rooted in reality, not privilege. Public reaction to the ruling has been divided, as expected. Supporters of the Duke of Sussex have celebrated the decision as a triumph of justice and reason, applauding him for standing up to powerful institutions. Many see it as a rare example of accountability in a system that often shields those in power from scrutiny. Meanwhile, critics, particularly those loyal to the monarchy, have tried to downplay the ruling, framing it as unnecessary or overly costly. But the truth is clear. Harry has won not just a legal argument, but a moral one. He fought for what was right, and he won on the strength of evidence and integrity. It's also worth noting how much courage it takes to challenge the very government and monarchy you were born into. For most royals, such defiance would be unthinkable. But Harry's willingness to confront unfairness head-on has always set him apart. He has repeatedly said that he would rather tell the truth and face criticism than remain silent and complicit. This victory reinforces that commitment, a reminder that real change often comes through resistance and persistence. Going forward, this decision could have wider implications. It may influence how future royal security cases are handled, especially if other members of the family step back or relocate. It also sets a precedent for transparency. No longer can security decisions be made behind closed doors without accountability. For the Home Office, it's a lesson in fairness and professionalism. For the royal family, it's a reminder that Harry is not the rebellious outcast they painted him to be. He's a man who stands up for himself and his family, using legal and ethical channels to seek justice. Beyond the legal details, this moment feels symbolic. For so long, the narrative around Harry has been one of exile, a prince who walked away, a man supposedly at odds with his heritage. But this ruling shows something deeper. Harry never rejected responsibility or duty. What he rejected was unfairness, institutional cruelty, and double standards. This victory is proof that stepping away from a broken system doesn't make you weak. it makes you free. Sussex, too, deserves credit in this story. Her unwavering support for her husband has been evident from the beginning. She has endured the same hostility, the same invasion of privacy, and yet has remained composed and strong. Together, the couple has demonstrated that integrity and love can stand firm against even the most powerful institutions. This ruling, in many ways, validates not only Harry's individual struggle, but the collective stand they've taken as a family for safety, dignity, and truth. As Prince Harry walked out of court after the decision, the photographs captured a man who looked composed, dignified, and quietly satisfied. Gone was the tension seen in earlier hearings. Instead, he appeared resolute, a man who had fought the system and finally earned justice. It's impossible not to feel that this moment, years in the making, marks a turning point in his journey. The boy who once walked behind his mother's coffin has now stood up against the same kind of institutional negligence that failed her, and this time, justice was served. In conclusion, Prince Harry's victory is more than a legal win. It's a moral triumph. It redefines the public narrative about him, exposing the unfairness he has endured and reaffirming his right to safety and respect. It holds the Home Office accountable for a decision that never should have been made in the first place, and shines a light on the quiet complicity of those within the royal establishment who stood by in silence. But above all, it shows that truth, persistence, and courage can prevail even against powerful systems designed to suppress them. For Harry, this is not just the end of a legal battle, it's the beginning of a new chapter, one defined by justice, vindication, and renewed strength.